Welcome back, Keepers, to another episode of Keeping It Real with Jac and Ral. I am Gabrielle Dolan.
I am Jac Phillips. So immersed in my notes because I'm a bit excited about this one.
Yeah, so this one, if you listen to last week's episode, we mentioned,
Never stop raving about
this week's episode like about 27 times. But it's called Career Reinvention and Designing Your Next Chapter. So we're excited about this because we have so many people come and ask us about this and want to know how we did it.
In fact, I want your life.
Yeah.
And I go, well, you can have it.
You can have my life.
Really have my life. I mean, it's not hard.
You can have my kids too.
No, you can't have my kids.
Can't have my kids. I love my kids.
I love my kids too.
So we wanted to talk about last week we spoke about the Gen X exit and why people are sort of leaving the workforce, perhaps, in their 50s or early 60s and not just retiring. And so we've spoken about this before. The concept of retiring, just working
needs
and
a rebrand,
stopping and doing nothing for the next 30, 40 years is just awful. It's not what people do.
Well, it's not good for people either.
No.
Can I add?
No. So,
purposeless.
We're living longer. All these, talked about dementia, you're keeping yourself busy and stuff like that. I've got a friend of mine who's retired, and she's not going to work for a few months, but she'll do something. Sure,
she's having a break.
You see, and she goes, I'm just bored. I just need to do something.
Because you think about it, we've spent most of our lives, particularly if you are Gen X, being told hard work,
yep.
and we've done that, and we've juggled and we've managed and we've, paid debt down and we've done lots and lots of things, and we've generally got a very strong and hard work ethic. So to then all of a sudden stop, there's only so much house cleaning one can do. There's only so much gardening one can do.
Yep.
You can do things like, focus on your health and well-being and fitness. Those are good things. But even then, a couple of hours of that a day is probably going to do it, right?
Yeah.
So then what? Well, I'll tell you what happens then if you don't do something is you start going down some dark paths in your mind.
Yeah.
You start thinking about all the things that are wrong. You start listening to news. You start perhaps doom scrolling. You want to be careful about doing nothing. I don't think it's a very purposeful or healthy thing to do.
So it's about if we go, talk about career reinvention and designing your next chapter. I mean, I was going to say I don't know about you, but I do know about you. I would say that both you and me, the designing our next chapter meant that this chapter we're currently in is the best chapter of our lives.
Best boss I ever had is me.
Yeah. So I think it's a really exciting time and great opportunities to say, that you might be sitting there thinking, I've had a really good career. I've loved what I do. I love my job. Imagine if the next chapter of your life was even better.
Can be.
And it can be.
Totally.
So, we'll obviously share some of our experiences, but what are you finding, what's holding people back from that?
Certainty. They want certainty. They want certainty that they're going to walk out of the job they're in and go straight into something for themselves that's going to pay just as much, if not more.
Yeah.
Okay. So, and that's very possible.
That's possible.
Very possible.
It may not happen straight away.
But they want me to say that's what's going to happen, and that's what happened to me. It's not what happened to me.
No.
So my advice as a coach was probably more of an advisor in this case. I asked them lots of questions as a coach should, but then I start giving out advice pretty quickly because I'm basing it on my experience, which is what I did was I started to plan for my exit a good 6 months earlier. So I thought, what money do I need? What money do I need in the bank? So if I'm going to give this every chance of success, I can focus on it fully. And as you know, I got the wobbles anyway, which we'll talk about in a moment. So plan for it. Have the money ready to go to say, well, okay, if I'm going to get a redundancy or I'm going to leave, can I plan and control that myself so I know when I'm doing that so that I can actually look at what the numbers say, okay? And then I can say, well, actually, I can pay the mortgage if I'm still paying down a mortgage for the next 6 months whilst I try this. Often we're partnered, so there's somebody else also earning an income. Can we do this? So prepare for it if money is the concern, and that's usually the driver, right?
It is absolutely.
I mean, that's why we work, is so we get money so we can pay for things and live a good life. So it's certainty that stops people. They want everything to be certain. There's no certainty. We've discussed this.
I find that, yes, it's absolute money. I can't afford to do this yet.
This is like an excuse you've heard. Yeah.
They're just also, well, I've never done it before. Like I've never coached before. I've never done this before. And it's just this fear of, would anyone value what I do?
Yes, that's a big one.
You hear a lot of, well, I've been good at my job, but like, I don't know why would
someone pay me?
How I would sell that, value that. So I remember when we've spoken about our previous stories before, but I'd worked at National Australia Bank. I'd worked in corporate for 20 years. That was my job, that was my life, that was my network. And when I sort of thought of this concept, I think storytelling's a skill and I think I could teach people how to do it. Now, I did sort of get the push where I've spoken about before, where I applied for a job and I didn't get it, but that was the catalyst. But the reality is I still could have stayed. I could have just applied for another job in that organisation.
And you would have got one.
And I would have got one and I could have still been there. But I did make the decision to go. Now, and what you were talking about, I also said, I was on a project, so I said, look, I'll stay to the end of the project. So I did give myself, it was like about 4 months between I'd made the decision and leaving.
So now
I had 4 months to sort of figure out what I had to do.
That's critical.
Financially, Steve was still working full time, but I was earning more than him. So, financially as a unit, we took a 60% cut.
But sometimes that little bit of desperation, which is I actually need to make money. Yeah. So I'm going to think about every way possible to do that.
Yes, absolutely.
It's not a bad thing.
Yeah.
Not a bad thing.
I did have, because there was a redundancy on the table, which was, I think it was, I can't remember, but let's say it was a year's salary. So I did have that buffer, but it's also a time zone to go, you've got to sort of make this happen. I had never run a business before. Never run a business. I had never taught storytelling before.
Correct. Didn't even know whether storytelling was going to take off.
Didn't even know if storytelling was anything people would want to buy.
Boy, you've made it a thing.
I had never sold, gone to pitch myself before. I'd never bloody issued an invoice, like all this stuff. I had no idea what I was doing.
But it didn't stop you.
It didn't stop me. And you got to do,
So what went through your mind? Because this is a great case study, Ral, and I remember meeting you not long after, you started this, and you certainly came across as somebody who knew exactly what they were doing, which is why I hired you to work with my team around organisational storytelling, because I could see the smarts around it. What was it that made you still go and do that and back yourself despite never having done any of those things before?
Well, I'm always just give it a crack.
Yeah.
But I also thought, what's the worst thing that can happen, which we've spoken about before?
Correct.
The worst thing can happen is no one buys storytelling. They just go, oh, what a load of crap. But then I thought, well, the kids are 2 and 5.
Yes.
I'm at home with the kids. I've got a year's salary to live on, which I could probably stretch out to 2 or 3 years. I had maternity leave.
Yeah.
No, I didn't have maternity leave because the kids were 2 and 5.
I was going to say, how long were you on maternity leave for? Good policy.
And I just thought, if it doesn't work out, I'll just come back and get another job.
That's so just hold that thought for a minute. Okay, so keepers, if you are, challenging yourself about, oh God, do I give this a go? Do I not? Particularly if you're being sort of forced out or being given a redundancy, what is the worst that can happen? Oh, it doesn't work out. I don't get what I need to. Back yourself, the lack of self-belief. I've said it before, I'm going to say it again. This is a Jack Phillips-ism. Everybody is born with high potential, but most of us don't have self-belief.
Yep.
That's the only difference between you at that stage in your life where you backed yourself and said, I'm going to have a crack. What's the worst that can happen? I'll just go back and get another job. And those that go, oh my goodness, I'm just not even going to try because it won't work.
Yeah. I have heard so many people have come to me for advice on how to do it, or, the classic, I want your life. Yep. And I talk to them, and the reason they give me for not doing it now is the kids are still young.
Perfect reason to do it.
I've had some people go, I can't do it, my kids are 4 and 6. And I'm thinking, I did it when my kids are 2 and 5. And you know those people. And
But did you ask the question, so why not? Because they're 4 and 6. What is it about 4 and 6?
Yeah, you know what? I probably didn't because I was.
You just thought,
it was.
idiot.
You know what? It's years ago, and I'm thinking of one person in particular. Her kids are now adults.
And she
still hasn't done it.
She was never going to do it.
She was never going to do it.
Correct.
And so
be that
there's
person.
something else. So I can't do it now because the kids are young. Okay, what is there an element of truth to that? Maybe, but like why? It's. I reckon it comes down to I can't sell myself. I can't sell myself. I don't think of what I can do is of value.
Yeah.
So it's how you even understand your value in the first place.
Totally.
Is really important step to this.
I agree. I totally agree. I love the people, and I coach them, that say to me, look, ideally I'll get another job and then I'll just build the side hustle up on the side. And I go, no, you won't.
Yeah.
Because you won't actually put the time, energy and focus into it, and you won't be desperate enough to make it work. And this is the difference, keepers, between those that actually go hard launch and those that go, oh, look, I'll just sort of, be half pregnant.
Yeah.
And I was coaching somebody who said to me, it's time for me to absolutely start my board career. I've been kicking this can down the road for I don't know how long, and it's not even a money issue now. I'm actually debt-free. I've sold the house. The kids are gone. But my fear is it's going to take a long time for me to get a board role, or I might not get one, let alone 2 or 3, in order to sustain what I want it to do. And I said, can you ring fence a time frame by which you would focus solely on the strategy you and I are going to work on to get your first board role? And she said yes.
Yeah.
And we did that, and it was successful. Now, even if she didn't get a board role within that time frame, the work she would have put in, and she put in huge amounts of work. She followed our strategy. We brainstormed together. Here's the steps that we're going to take. The effort and time she'd put in had already paid off because people knew about her. They knew her intentions to go on a board. She had redone all of her personal brand assets with me. Yep. She was so ready. So even if she hadn't got that first board role, she would have gone then on to get another job, which she would have been snapped up. She was highly accomplished. And then it wouldn't have been long before she got one anyway. Yeah. But she actually didn't need to go back and get a thing.
And sometimes
carve out the time and energy and give it the focus.
And especially if you've got a lot of people have been made redundant, so they have got a redundancy
They've
package.
I've got
a 3-month, 6-month, 12-month buffer.
Correct.
Use that time wisely.
Correct.
You referred to your story before when you had made the decision to go out on your own, and I was, mentoring you on what to do.
You were the first person I came to.
Yeah, and I remember being here at your
because I didn't know
farm.
many people
I think
like
you had sort of recently bought this place, and
we had. It was a year after.
You were talking about how you got an offer from a professional service firm to
big one.
work 3 days a week, and like I didn't want to. I was thinking, big mistake.
Yeah,
big mistake because
you're so right.
Big mistake because I thought, it won't be 3 days. You'll be working 5 days and just getting paid 3. And all that energy and momentum that you had to setting up your own would be put on pause and
or given to another organisation.
Yeah, and even though you said, I'll work on that 2 days and this 3 days, that's not going to happen. But I guess I didn't want to pry into your financial situation because part of me was thinking, maybe, they bought the farm, maybe
a good spender.
You desperately need to get the money. But when your husband Rich said –
Rich by name, not by nature, sadly.
Yeah. When he was suggesting don't do it, and he was saying you've always said you wanted to do this, and if you don't do this now, as in do this, as in set up your own thing, if you don't do it now, when are you going to do it? And I thought if your husband's sitting there going clearly the financial situation was not an issue. So I think, then I said, no, I think that's a really bad idea. And between
you two were terrific. And but it was you I was looking at and listening to, and it was the best thing I ever did, Ral. And again, there is something about backing yourself and going, well, bloody hell, it's on me now, you know, and I don't want to be without my income because I'm a bloody good spender and I like my life and I'm in control of my life. I've never needed anyone else to support me. So it made me work really hard, and it made me leverage all the skills. It made me do some additional training. But I think something we need to remind our keepers is every single job you've had over your lifetime, every skill you've learned, every piece of confidence that has developed and been built and compounded has led you to here.
Yeah. So you're not starting.
This is not your first rodeo.
No, and when people go starting over, you're not starting from
scratch.
You're not starting.
Get that out of your head.
Yes,
you are so.
You're evolving.
Qualified.
You're not even starting.
So
you're
qualified.
Just evolving to the next chapter.
So remember that. Remember that. Yeah, gosh, everything I've done is going to get me to where I want to get to. And then I get, but how do I sell myself? So let's just talk about that for a minute. That's a good one.
Yeah.
How do I sell what I want to do? Well, first of all, understand what your value proposition is.
Yeah.
Yeah. What are you going to sell? What is your product?
Yes.
Get some clarity around that and build the value proposition. A good executive coach can help with that, or a good advisor, or you can pay somebody to brainstorm that with you. If you don't know yourself, and then think about, well, okay, what do I think my value is?
Yeah.
It's really easy to get research today on advisory fees, on consulting fees, on all of those things. It's everywhere. Yeah, it's on the internet. It's clearly in AI, and you can talk to people like us and say, well, I mean, anyone hiring me knows how much I charge. So, and the same for you, right? Yeah. It's not hard to find this out. And people, I'm really transparent. I have no problems telling people, how I charge. One of the best pieces of advice you ever gave me was never charge by an hour. Look at it as a package. And that's really smart, because you're delivering more than just an hourly service.
Yeah.
There's much more that sits around that. Yeah. So it's all of those things.
I remember when I left and I was running storytelling, so running a storytelling workshop for a day. And I was trying to figure out how much I charge for that. And I had a mentor, so I'd left.
But this is a long time ago, where this was information wasn't as popular, as available, as accessible, as transparent.
No.
So you had to sort of forge the way a bit.
It was 21 years ago. And so part of the process, so I guess capturing on what you just said, your value proposition, I knew I wanted to teach storytelling. Now, in my previous roles at NAB, I had done a lot of change management.
Yes.
So overall change management. And I had a lot of people, especially when they're going, storytelling, like, I'm not sure about that.
Yes.
Why don't you do change management? You could do change management. And I initially started to get sucked into that about, I could offer change management, because I could offer change management. Sure. But I remember thinking, I don't want to do the entire change management. I just want to do this little segment of storytelling. So, if you're managing change, like rolling out a new strategy or culture or values, you do all that and you bring me in for storytelling.
I love this, Ral. I've never heard you tell me this before, and this is fabulous, because what you are doing there is you are talking about the future. This is something that hasn't been done before.
Yeah.
And it is needed, but just nobody knows about it yet, and I'm prepared to be the one to change that. Most people go back to what they know, So again, one of the dimensions of the Future Fluency Index is for anticipation and foresight. What does the future need? Be that person that goes, actually, what I know and what I've learned, how am I going to adapt that for the future? But be ready for people to go, I don't know anything about that, therefore that might not work. You might need to go back to doing A.
Yeah, I think the real power is niche in market.
I
do storytelling.
That.
Say if I decide to do change management, first of all, now I am competing with so many companies that do. I'm competing with, like Deloitte and Accenture or professional service firms. So I'm deleting with a whole.
But quite frankly,
competing.
Difficult is change management if you've got good leaders.
And I can't do change management.
If you've got good leaders. Leaders will absolutely embrace the change. Yeah. They will have a positive outlook and they will coach and bring their people through. Really? That we need to pay Accenture hundreds and hundreds of thousands of dollars to
I'm sure
help with change management?
Organisations do that, so they got some
they
blame.
do.
But anyway, that's a whole other issue. So I stayed very clear on my value proposition is storytelling. Yeah. And that's what I'm going to do.
And it's a niche. I love that.
When it came to pricing, and you know what, we are going to talk about our Design
Immersion.
Your Next Chapter Immersion, but one of the first things we take people through on that 3-day is helping them get clear on what their market is and their message. Also, what their message is. So, for example, in my case, storytelling. The next thing is who's your market.
Yeah.
Now, the big mistake people can go is,
everyone.
And, storytelling, everyone could benefit. But I knew right from the start that my market was senior executive leaders. That's where I wanted to focus. That's where I thought I could make the biggest impact.
And they've got the money. So let's be a little bit smart here.
Let's be smart. So that was my market.
Unless you're selling a widget to 900 billion people or to India or America or Europe, then go for that scale.
Yeah.
Otherwise, go for niche and go for affluent.
So then it got to pricing.
Yeah.
Okay. So I'm doing storytelling
for a niche market
for senior executives, running a full day workshop. what's the pricing? And I remember I was talking to my coach at the time, and I said, I really don't know how much to charge. I'm thinking I might charge $1,800 a day. And she just looked at me and went, and she said,
you had no idea.
You worked at, but I did because I worked at NAB. She goes,
oh, you were hiring?
No, no. She said, when you worked at NAB, how much did they pay consultants?
That's right.
And I went, oh, well, and you're going back 21 years ago. I go, well, the really senior partners, they're getting paid like $3,000 or $4,000 a day, and like the junior burgers are getting paid $2,000. So she goes, so you're telling me that your value is less than a junior consultant? And I went, oh my God, no. And then she said, how much do they pay for senior executive training a day? And that's when the light bulb went on. And it was like, well, they're charging anywhere between $10,000 or $20,000. And I just put my pricing range in that range because I wanted to work with senior executives, and I wanted to be at the top end, and I knew it was probably expensive, but that's exactly where I wanted to go.
And there is something about being credible and confident about what you're charging, and actually seen as credible and confident.
Yeah.
And therefore you must be good. The other thing is you can always negotiate. So if an organisation says, oh, that's just a bit over my budget, you can say, well, what's your budget?
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, we can adapt this.
Exactly.
So
but
the other
thing with pricing too is again, we'll go into a lot more of this if you come to our immersion, but price on value. You said the advice I gave to you, don't charge by the hour, price on value. So when people say to me, and I've had people say to me, how do you charge that much a day? Like, how do those words come out of your mouth?
Easily.
And I go, okay, so, and I'm going to, if you're listening to this and you work, in executive team or you're a leader, and if I said to you, how much is it worth that I can train your leaders so they are in a better position to communicate the strategy in a way people really understand and connect with, or to communicate the values in a way that people actually get engaged and inspired by, or to make sure that when they're presenting to clients, they're standout presenters, to make sure that they are better communicators. And I can do that for your top leaders. How much is that worth?
Because we're not talking you just talking to one person.
No.
There's a group of them.
And so seriously, if you're not sitting there going, that would be worth hundreds of thousands of dollars to me, well, I don't charge that much. I charge a bit of that. But what I'm saying is if you own the value you deliver, and I know that's a lot easier said than done, because the process that we will take people through is help them understand what their value is.
Yep.
Get them, we've got a little session in the immersion called content creation, and it's just about, and what I find is when people start to even just write down a few things that they know, they sit there and go, actually, this is a value.
That's right.
So the first sale, is always to yourself.
That's exactly right.
You've got to own the value.
Yeah, that is. Then
so pricing, it's easy. And also too, pricing's made up. Yeah. Completely made up.
Of course it is, as it should be. I mean, you've got to start somewhere, right?
Yeah,
you've got to start somewhere. As we're talking about career reinvention, designing your next chapter, I'm getting lots and lots of people saying to me, talk to me about portfolio, and we've done an episode on portfolio careers. So just to be clear, a portfolio career is where you actually have a portfolio of roles, So you're doing more than one thing. So you might be a consultant and an advisor. You might be a podcaster. You might be a non-executive director. You might be, what else might you be?
Working on a farm. With it really is about different things you're doing.
Income streams.
That's not all, but, talking about income streams, where you're getting your income from. And when you think of certainty, people are scared of certainty.
Well, this is my point.
Diversificate. We get taught out that with our financials, investment, diversify your financial investment.
Do it with your career.
Do it with your career.
So there are some months here where, it's just a bit quiet on the coaching front, or it's just a bit quiet on the equine front.
Yep.
But it's never quiet on both of those fronts at the same time. And so it's a terrific thing. The board role, obviously that's just an ongoing monthly fee, right?
Yeah, but you could do more boards.
I don't have time for more boards, but I could pick up more boards.
Yeah.
But do you know the benefit? There's a couple of things about the portfolio career. I have never been more creative
Yeah.
You know, I can say to my friend Ral, hey, why don't we do a podcast?
Yes.
And it doesn't matter if it's a disaster. Clearly it's not. We're bloody doing all right and making a fair bit of money out of it. But we love it. We do it for free anyway, yeah? I can do so many things. I can write. You know, you can write. You're doing your books. There are so many ways to actually fill your portfolio career with things that really fill your cup and bring you joy, set your heart on fire and make money. Just some research. Nearly 1 million Australians hold multiple jobs this year. That's up quite a significant. Women are more likely to be multiple job holders than men, actually. The fractional executive compensation data shows the sector doubled from roughly 60,000 to 120,000 professionals between 2022 and 2024. This has been burgeoning, with over half of fractional professionals now earning over 100K or more annually. That's pretty good.
Yeah.
As a good start.
Yeah.
Monthly rates for experienced fractional executives typically run 10K to 20K. So 3 days a week with one primary client can translate to 120 to 40K a year. That's all right.
Yes.
Good start.
Yeah.
A really good start. The clearest hard evidence is senior experienced people are the ones actually monetizing the portfolio model well. This isn't a side hustle story. It's a genuine alternative career architecture at the top end. And globally, more than 40% of professionals now report having more than one income stream.
Yeah.
So why do we think it's rising? Why are more and more people coming to me to be coached on portfolio careers? Why are more and more people coming to me saying, I've got a redundancy coming up and I think I want to do something different next?
Yeah.
Economic uncertainty and layoff exposure. That's everywhere.
Well, we spoke about the Gen X exit last time.
AI reshaping single role stability. Too right it is.
Yeah.
And a value shift toward autonomy and control over time. I want to work for the best boss I've ever worked for, and that person is me.
Yeah.
I can trust me.
There comes a time in your career where
comes a time.
the thing you value most is money and what you earn.
Yep.
And then there comes a time where the thing you value most is time.
Yep. Can I just talk about Design Your Next Chapter, which is our immersion?
Yeah.
I mean, these are the master classes that you get. Now, if you miss this next one, I think we've got 2 spaces left. We are going to run another one.
We've got so many people that want to do
on a
it.
wait list.
Can't do these dates. So we've got a wait list happening. So if you want to get on that, let us know.
4 people that couldn't make these dates are all in Europe.
Oh, no.
But they are keen to join us early next year because they're right in this.
Yep.
Masterclass 1, from ladder to lattice. I know it sounds a bit wanky, but the point being, from climbing the corporate ladder upwards, now we're talking about actually exploring alternative careers, portfolio careers, consulting, board roles, retraining, starting your own practice, and every combination in between.
And
so that masterclass is a beauty.
That is about helping you get clear on what is it you want to do.
Correct.
Like, what is it your message?
Yeah.
You know, I want to do storytelling, how you want to do it.
Yeah.
I want to be, you know, who's your audience, how you want to do it. Do I want to do coaching? Do I want to run workshops? Do I whatever?
Yep.
And all the pros and cons and how you go about that. And, you know, that's a big part of the first one.
That's
helping
a good
you get really clear.
Masterclass. So you're going to come out of that masterclass with your shoulders back, your head held high, because you're going to be so much clearer. Masterclass 2.
It sounds like you're vomiting, your shoulders held and your head.
Head held high, shoulders back.
You're tying your hair back. Sorry, go on. I digress.
That went downhill fast. Masterclass 2, content creation. Nobody hires, refers, or backs an expert they've never heard of. Okay, this is about, and this is another story. Oh, I don't use LinkedIn. Oh, I never post on. Oh, I don't know how. Well, it's time you bloody learned. If you're not marketing yourself, if you're not marketing yourself, nobody else is going to.
So this is
we're going to help you with this. We're bloody queen marketers.
You want to. The more people know about what you want to do, it creates
what you can offer them.
What you can offer. So there's 2 reasons why we do this. We spoke about this before. If you start getting the stuff out of your head just down
onto a paper,
you will start to think this is of value. And remember, first sale is to yourself. So you will actually do that. But then if you act on that value and start to share it, then that's when people start to know about you, and it increases opportunity. And it's not about, you know, people go, oh, I don't want to self-promote. It was like, you know, if what you can do is of value to others, well, it's about It's not about self-promotion.
No.
It's about helping
others.
And if
Exactly right.
If it's a bit
Reframe
of
that.
self-promotion at the same time, then good on
it's
it.
informing others of your value proposition.
Yep.
Masterclass 3, own your value. Yeah. So this is the pricing piece we spoke about before, which is most people stop there and go, oh my goodness, I don't know how to price. We'll help you price. You'll walk out, price like you can't believe. Know your number.
You know your number. You'll be saying it. This is what I am. This is what I do. This is how much it costs.
That's right. This is the investment you will make.
Yep.
And the final masterclass is how you launch. So you walk out of this immersion not only identifying your value proposition, figuring out how to market yourself, knowing what you price it at, but then exactly the next thing you're going to do is launch this, your action plan.
You're going to do it.
It's a cool immersion. I can't wait. And I can't wait. We're going to run these throughout the year, this next year as well, because these are going to be oversubscribed. Yeah. And look, own it, keepers. You know, it is your time, career reinvention. You're young. You've got so many opportunities to really become the best boss you've ever had and be able to take autonomy, you know, be around your kids, go and travel and still earn an income and do it your way.
Yeah.
I love that.
Yeah.
Do we talk about networking in our immersion?
Yeah, we do. Part of the masterclass 4, the launching thing, is how you put your network to work and how you utilize your network. So look, the brochure is in the show links, but high level details. It's 16th to 18th of September.
Oh, this is the next one. Yeah.
So Wednesday, we start at lunchtime on Wednesday. We finish lunchtime on Friday.
Might be a wine
it's
or
at
two.
Lansmore in Millawa. There's a lot of free time built in to go to, you know, Brown Brothers and Millawa cheese and stuff like that. The cost is $3,800. Early birds finished, but what do you reckon, Jack? If someone lets us know there's a keeper, you say keeper, we'll give you the early bird, which is $3,400 plus GST.
Not pricing us very well here, Ral, giving us away.
We could increase the value, but we want to make it accessible to everyone. Plus your accommodation, but we've organised great deals on the accommodation as well. So thanks, keepers. Hope you found this of value and hope you felt a little bit inspired, a
little bit more confident about taking the next step, whatever it might be.
Yeah, whatever it might be.
Designing your next chapter.
Let us help you design that.
Reinvention.
Yep. Share as usual, rating if you haven't done it, and we will see you next week.
Bye.
You've been listening to another episode of Keeping It Real with Jac and Ral. If you like what you've heard, don't forget to tell others about it and give a 5-star review. They may seem confident, but they really are sensitive 5-star needy souls. Yeah, right. Keeping It Real, created by Jack Phillips and Gabriel Dolan. Produced by Keelan Ferrari Brown. And this really real voiceover, spoken by Richard Phillips.